In this tutorial we will look at randomising the serve angle for the ball. So currently it's just been served horizontally. We'll look at randomising that within a range. We will also handle the serve direction from looking at the original Pong. If the ball goes past player 1 here, the next serve is to player 1, and we'll randomise the first serve, and it'll follow the pattern that I've just mentioned after that until the game is won. So let's get started here with the ball script. We're going to want to make a method which determines the serve direction. So determines direction to serve ball, and that will be a public void. I'll say determine serve direction we're going to need to pass an int, a player who scored in. Okay, so if player 1 scored, serve to player 2, else if player 2 scored, serve to player 1, and finally if this is no, actually we're going to else if first serve randomize serve direction. Okay, so if player who scored in equals 1, okay, so let's just look at this in Unity. So this is player 1. If player 1 scores, it means it's gone past player 2, so we want to serve back to player 2. So that direction on the x-axis is 1. So let's see, we'll create another method here. Handles the ball serve. Public void handle ball serve, and int direction in. Okay, so if player 1 scored, we want to serve it in direction 1, so that's 1, a positive serve on the x-axis. So we'll say here handle ball serve 1. Okay, else if player who scored in equals 2, we're going to want to send it -1, this direction, the negative direction on the x-axis. So we'll handle ball serve with passing -1. Now the other possibility is that it's the first serve, so we can just use an else for that. And we'll say handle ball serve 0. Now that wouldn't really do anything by itself, but we'll just use it as to notify if the serve should be randomized. Okay, so the next thing, let's handle that condition first. If serve, or if, I'll just change that to serve direction for a bit of clarity. Serve direction in. If serve direction in equals 0, so we want to randomize if serve direction equals 0. Let's write a method for doing that now. Because it gets randomized serve direction. Public. We're going to return an int this time. Get random serve direction. So we'll say start off int random serve direction equals 0. We will want to get a random number here. Let's just make that void for now. We can add the return type later. It's thrown an error. So we're going to get number 0 or 1 if 0 serve left. That's to player 1. So if Unity engine dot random dot range, and we want to say 0 and 2, so that will return either 0 or 1. The 2 is not, it's exclusive, it's not included. And so if that random number equals 0, we're going to serve it left. So we know that to serve left we need to pass -1. That's -1 on the x-axis to serve it this way. So random serve direction equals -1. Else number is 1, serve right or to player 2. So that's else, and random serve direction equals 1, so it will be 1 on the x-axis will be the basic direction of the serve. Now let's just swap that back now to an integer, because we want to pass this back to the method that calls it, and we will return random serve direction. Now at this point we should also, let's create a vector too, because we want to keep two pieces of information available. We want to keep the basic serve direction, the x direction, and we want to keep the y direction also, because we're going to randomize the angle that the serve is made at also. So let's create a vector 2. Let's say an ideal data type for that. So public vector 2, and that will be, let's call it serve direction. We could put a v2 in there as well, just to distinguish it. Okay. So let's create an integer here. Int serve direction. Say it's x because it'll be the x direction, and we'll zero it out for now. So back to here. We want to randomize the serve direction for the first serve. So we say that serve direction x equals get random serve direction. Okay. The other possibility is that it will be directed to player 1 or player 2, and we'll know that if the serve direction is not equal to 0. So if it's equal to 1 or minus 1, and this would be better as a float because that's vector 2 has two floats. Okay, so otherwise serve direction x equals the direction we've passed in. If value which is not equal to 0 has been passed, that is the serve direction. Now, next thing we need to do is get the angle that's going to be served. So right now, what it'll do is, if the ball goes past player 2, it'll serve it back to player 2, but it'll just serve it horizontally each time. So we want to randomize the angle within a kind of a certain range here. Okay, so float declare float to store serve angle. Float serve angle. Just add a y in there so we know the axis. We're going to create a new method now called get serve angle. Gets randomized serve angle. Okay, and call that public. Float get random serve angle. Okay, we'll start off. Okay, that's a pretty simple one here. Now, if we just look at the potential range of values here, it'll be between 1 and 0. So if y is 1, it's going to send it straight up. If y is 0, it's going to send it straight down. So we want to try and find an angle that's a suitable kind of range of angles between that. So we'll start off. We could say something like we'll try just 2.5 to 7.5. So we're going to go back to this random this. So we don't need to declare anything here. We're just going to return Unity engine dot random dot range, and this time we will put in 0.25. So I think that's going to be a minimum 45-degree angle on each side. If we do it this way, to 0.75 f. Okay, so float serve angle y equals get random serve angle. Okay, so at this point we have the serve direction and we have the serve angle, and we're going to basically, let's have a look at the serve ball method. Now you see currently that's just those values will not change, so we want to pass, say, vector 2. We could pass 2 floats if we wanted, or we can create a vector 2 and send that to this method to determine the direction and the angle. So let's do that now. Okay, so we want to create a vector 2 containing data on serve direction and angle. Okay, so vector 2 serve, oh no, hold on, we have that already. We have it at serve direction v2. I made that an instance field so it would be available throughout the class, and equals new vector 2. So we want to put in the serve direction first, serve direction x, serve direction x, serve angle y, and now we want to pass that to serve ball, but first we're going to need to add a parameter here so it can accept it. Actually we don't, because it's an instance field. It's already available. It doesn't need to be, it's visible throughout the whole class already, so we don't need to do that. So now we just say serve ball, and in here we're going to update this with serve direction v2. Stop. Now we're going to need to change that. We need to stop and reposition. We don't want to serve the ball now as part of this anymore. We want to build this class first so we can get access to the we want to determine the serve direction first. So we'll call that now. When the ball goes out of bounds, we'll stop and reposition the ball, and we will determine the serve direction based on the player number who scored. So we'll follow the logic the rest of the way now. Determine serve direction, we'll call handle serve ball. Handle serve ball will either get a random serve direction or use the past direction based on the player. So if it's the first serve, randomize. If the player has scored, use that direction. We will now get a float serve angle, create the vector 2 and serve the ball. So that probably should work now. Let's just check this method to see if it's been called anywhere else. So it's been called in start, so we need to change that too, because that's just going to serve the ball. Now we need to pass more data than that, and we can just write determine serve direction and pass a 0 to it, because we've set that up in such a way. Handle ball serve 0, and to randomize the serve direction. So let's build that now and see what happens. So you can see it's computer might be hard to beat here. So you can see now if I miss, the ball will go the same direction as me. And let's just, so it's gone towards me. It's gone towards me. Yeah, so that's working okay now. It's randomizing on the first serve, and then it's serving at the player who let the score past them after that. So that's all for this tutorial, and I'll see you in the next one.